So Billy, let's talk about the off season. You're a guy that's always very much getting around, meeting with guys, and obviously with this brand new roster, a lot of first-time meetings. What was your off season like?
It was pretty busy. Obviously when the trades happened, it was right in Summer League, so I was out in Las Vegas during that time. And then soon after that, I tried to make some trips just to see some different people. Chris Paul was, he came into Oklahoma. He was here for 4 days over the summer, so it was great spending time with him. Dennis Schroeder and Gallo, both those two guys were, playing with their national teams, Italy and Germany. So I went to Athens to spend a couple days with Gallo, which was great, and then went to Germany to spend a couple days with Dennis, because since the exit interviews, I really hadn't had a chance to see those guys. They were getting prepared for FIBA World Championships. And then, had a chance to spend some time with Shea, out there in Vegas when Summer League was going on, when the trade happened. So I've been able to spend some time with these guys and kind of get to know some of the newer guys. And then we had a lot of younger guys in this summer working out, which was great. Stephen was back and forth between New Zealand. So it was a busy summer, but it was well worthwhile.
I know they're all different and unique in their own ways, but have you come to start to learn some things about this group collectively as a whole as you've gotten to interact with them?
Well, I think really good guys. And one thing I really feel fortunate about since I've been here is we've always had really good guys. So really easy to talk to, get to know them and their families. The basketball piece of it, when training camp happens and they get here before training camp starts, you can really talk about basketball, but you really kind of want to get to know them as people. And I want them to get to know me as well. So, the time that we spent together I thought was really, really productive, getting to know each other. Now the work comes into play where we got to come in and establish an identity on both ends of the floor and work to play with one another.
Development's always been a big thing in the Thunder organization, and obviously now with a younger group, that becomes even more important. How do you approach that as you try to, get these guys out on the floor, but yet there's going to be some young faces involved?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of aspects to development. Without question, I think a player needs to develop by getting on the floor. But also the other part of development is them learning and growing through mistakes. And sometimes you can't play through all your mistakes. Sometimes there's a balance where you got to sit down and watch a little bit too. But our young guys have been in for a good part of the summer. They've worked really, really hard to get better and to improve. And when they get out there, I think the greatest development piece is them having the opportunity to get better and improve from their own personal experiences. And it's been really interesting to see Hami make the kind of jump he's made. And his rookie year was kind of up and down. He got into the rotation, he was back out, he was down in the G League a little bit, but that was part of his development, and it's probably helped him get where he's at today. So I think there's a lot of different things that go into a player's development. But the one thing I feel encouraged about with our young guys is that there's an internal drive and motivation to want to be good. And you can have the greatest development plan program in the world, but if guys aren't going to work to really get better, they don't love getting better or love improvement, it's hard to really help a guy get to his fullest ability.
Last thing I wanted to ask you about Russell. I mean, you obviously lost not only Russ but Paul, great players, but Russell around for so long and such a he's a very regimented guy, sort of having a hand in almost everything. Have you started to see these other guys fill the gaps where he maybe was, the one you could set your watch by when it came to showing up and those sorts of things? Have you started to sense where those guys step into some of those voids?
Yeah, I think it's hard right now because the one thing is that we really haven't all been together at the same time. When Chris came in at the end of July, beginning of August, Stephen was back in New Zealand, Dennis was playing with his national team, Gallo was in Italy, and then all of a sudden Stephen comes back and now Chris is not here. So we haven't really had a chance to get together, but I think it's got to be a collective effort by everybody to, assume the responsibility of us coming together as a team. And they've also got to get to know each other on the court by playing with one another. And I think that first week of training camp is going to be important, trying to look at some different combination of players.